I've been doing it for so long, I don't even really think about it anymore. There are some things that are more or less intuitive, and you just, you past experiences and so forth, and you make mistakes as you go along, and then you go back and think, oh, better not do that again. Watercolor is pretty forgiving. Most people think it's really difficult, but it's not. It just takes a different way of looking at things, and you learn the process. I had one teacher who told me that it was 95% technique and 5% inspiration. So sometimes I lack that 5%, but looking at something like this, it's not difficult to find something gorgeous to paint. But I find it very relaxing, and I love to do it, and it keeps me occupied. I've been using my time during this isolation. I'm up to, I think, quarantine number 4 now. I do paintings in my studio. My studio, I laugh. It's my laundry room, actually. But it keeps me occupied, and I put on pretty music, and you can be in a different place at a different time, and things go on. So, but that's what I do.
We're at the North Heron Island Road Bridge and Lagoon, and it's low tide, and so instead of painting water and mud, I decided to paint the madrone tree, which is directly north of us here. And so I made a preliminary sketch of the road and where the road ends in the first horizon there. And I'm going to put the madrone tree a little bit to the left center here. And I'm sketching it in with a 4B pencil, just very lightly touching it in. So I'll have part of the bridge, the road, and the tree in. And the plan is to then go on out easterly up the lagoon area and see how that goes here.
Yeah, just gorgeous. Isn't that just pop?
But I think it's important to get a sketch going first, so you kind of have it in mind what's out there. Everything in a very light wash. The light's going to be changing here like crazy, so you have to kind of memorize where you want the darker part of the darker part's a little bit up to the north and the west. The underpainting for the tree, everything, there's so much green, there has to be a dark underpainting to allow the lighter parts of the green to show there. And so when I start, there's going to be a lot of black on this, in this middle part here. And that's going to be the background for the overpainting with the green that's going to show through. So it's going to be kind of a mess for a while, kind of a blackish, again, Payne's gray, as the underpainting for what's behind to show through. The main thing is that in oil you go from very dark to very light. You don't in watercolor, you just the other way around. So this you have to lay down the dark first and then bring light on top of the dark. So that's why when you start off, there's going to be a lot of dark here. That's the part that's kind of gives you the little anxiety about how much dark is in the painting. So we have the road is going to come this way. So we're going to then there's a really large fir complex right here, or hemlock fir. And so that's going to be, the crown of the tree will be here, and then the plan is to have this to the right of the road, which will start about in here.
When I started, there weren't quite so many clouds at the lower level of the mountain. So I'm trying to reconstruct what I did. So earlier, I knew I should have taken a picture, and I didn't. So, but and quite frankly, as I was telling Marita, this is the first time since this whole mess started that I actually feel like I'm painting something and I know what I'm doing. I've been in a barren wasteland as far as my art has been concerned, so I'm just trying here to lay down some background and get the concept of what I want to do, so I can go back and do some detail work later. Kind of interesting how the clouds have rolled in.
And will you take a picture at some point?
Yeah, I already did. I took a picture, over there. So, and at first I put my mountain right smack dab in the middle, which is a big no-no. So I moved everything over, give it a little different perspective, and so. But that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Is just trying to get basic form and light decided. So
Chris has a grandchild now. Oh, I think I knew that, but I had forgotten.
one of the, and I started to do wet on wet, which is kind of a little bit of a departure for me, but it seems to be working pretty well with the way that the sky and the clouds are today. So
Congratulations. Thank you. Great fun.
So when you're doing watercolor, you normally wait for a part to dry before you go over it?
no, not necessarily. When you do wet to wet, what you put, as you can see up here, I put the water on, wet my whole paper, then put the water on and kind of just I mixed my color that I wanted and just kind of let the paint flow and run. You can get patterns that way that work out. And then this is cold press paper, which means that it's got more of a grain than the hot press, so that the paint will adhere to it a little more. And it's, I don't know, we'll see what happens. My first endeavor in, real serious endeavor in, since before October. So I had to go back to basics. I've been doing a lot of little exercises here and there to remember, so I could remember about blending and all of that. And so here you go. We'll see what happens here. Kind of too bad, but oh, I see the clouds are moving away a little bit more, so there you go.
What I'm looking at is, at first, what to paint, right? It's all beautiful, and if you try to do too much, it just doesn't work as well, right? So, and I want the mountain that the light shines the brightest off of. And so I'm trying to figure out where to put those. You don't want the mountain to be right in the middle of your picture. But you want perspective that kind of works and flows. So I'm sketching here, just kind of get an idea how big my buildings need to be, because I'm going to move them over, and how big my mountains are, and then I'm going to notice where it is on the paper, and then when I go to my next paper, when I start, I kind of have an idea where to do it. So that's what I'm doing here and now. And then I'm going to do it fairly loose. As if I was sitting somewhere on vacation, which we're lucky to be every day when we live right here on the Key, right where we want to be. So I have my travel pens, and I have a travel palette. And I only put a limited amount of colors in it. So, I have each of the primaries, blue, red, and yellow. And I have them sorted kind of from warm colors and cool colors. And from these colors I can make any color, supposedly. So it's good for me to practice with that. But this is what I take when I travel. It's easy. Got a little pen here. It's got water in it. And I'm practicing with those tools today.
Well, it's constantly changing. The mountains come and they go. Right now they're mostly gone. So the whole idea is to capture the light when you see some beautiful things. I'm really loving this reflection that showed up out there of the Heron Island. I'm guessing that's Heron Island. So trying to capture that while it's there would be a really good thing. I'm not quite getting it yet. So playing with color, trying to find what kind of matches that as best I can. I think I need a little green in there too. At least bold enough that I like it so far. We'll keep working.
So I'm working here in oil on canvas, and I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for composition right now, and just wanting to kind of decide on which elements I want to include. And I mean, I just, I love what the atmosphere is doing back over here, and the clouds up in the mountains there, kind of in the background. And I'm a cloud freak. I love clouds. And but there's some interesting elements in the the mid ground here, and some trees in here, and some water down here. So I'm just going to try and see what I can do to catch that, and then kind of decide whether I want to put in some of the branches here, just sort of peering through the branch, put the subtleties of the mountains in there, and then sort of bring it forward. And that's kind of the way that I work quite a bit is the background and then bringing it forward with where more of the detail is going to be. Sort of scrumbling in some white here, and then I'm going to lay in some blue, trying to find the colors of what I'm looking at here.
I brought it to show you
Yeah,
in person.
just gorgeous.
Didn't that just pop?
It does. It does. You
I mean, it's the
Gary, I'm blown away.
it's the telephoto lens look if there is one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gorgeous. So this is an online class?
Yeah.
Your colors are unbelievable.
Blended nicely, didn't it?
Yeah, sure.
'Cause
That's acrylic.
Yeah, it's curling.
Well, you're getting it down, man.
And no fancy colors, right?
Yeah.
You know, you'll niggle around in there and add little things. And now, see, my sky I liked, and now it's faded. So watercolor fades on you. You have to make it darker than you want it to be. Well, I did get a college degree in art, so that was my claim to fame. And I tried all the other mediums and really loved this one, and I got an art teaching degree. But I never did get the ultimate art teaching job, so
Now I'm considering going into the palette now and try to get some the greens, the deep darks in the back, and so much of the greens is building some red into the dark part there. So the red will help the contrast. So.
Trying to establish these values up in here, and kind of squint down for the values.
Can you talk a little bit about, for people that are not painters, what you mean by values?
Values have to do with the lightness or darkness of the tone, whatever the color or tone is, and you pick out the values by comparison. So I'm comparing the values of, say, the sky with the mountains here, and kind of comparing them, and it helps to kind of sort of squint at it, to kind of get to see the relationship between the lights and darks. If it's thin paint, then it dries quickly, and then what you put on top of it, a little bit thicker paint, will adhere to it better, and it will last longer.
I took an art class, oil painting class, back when I lived in Fargo, North Dakota.
ooh,
And she pretty much would come and paint on your picture and
Ah.
without asking permission and stuff. And
She
and
would
so
fix it for you.
when I finished it, I said, so what do you think? And she went, eh. And I thought,
Oh.
well, the heck with this. You know, I'm not doing this anymore. I used to sketch when I was in training, you know, instead of studying, I'd take my study break by sketching. But so I just kind of gave it up for a while, and then when we moved out here, I thought, you know, I like watercolor. I like how it looks. You know, I think I'm gonna try that because it's easy. Well, that certainly put that down pretty quickly because it's not the easiest medium. But I really enjoyed it, and so I've been doing it. I started out taking a couple of beginners classes and then intermediate, but that really didn't pan out for me, and that's how I met most of the tarts. There were about 4 of us in that class, and we were just having coffee one day after the class and said, you know, we learn more from one another. Why don't we just do our own thing? So that's how we all got started.
Yeah, we're now at about a year, or thereabouts, well, just over a year, painting almost every we were painting every Monday, and so it's fun to get back with the group and you know, just take advantage of where we live.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
pretty amazing.